Good morning. Welcome to Winnipeg. Well, I gotta tell you, I am really disappointed with Canada Post. Last night I went to bed fairly late, and I think one of the last things I did was I checked Canada Post's tracking, and it still said the same thing it's been saying for the last 5 days or whatever, and that is it was supposed to be was supposed to be delivered yesterday by the end of the day. Now that's what it was saying when I went to bed last night. Now, first thing I did was when I got up this morning was I checked the tracking. Well, finally something has changed, but it hasn't changed to good news. It's just changed. Now it says it's going to be delivered tomorrow by the end of the day. So, yeah. As I mentioned before, it's got to be because of the time of year, you know. It's a busy time of year. Okay, so what can we do here that we're not going to be painting ourselves into a corner? I do intend to do a better job of painting on this build than I have in the past, as far as getting the colors more or less right, if I can. It does look like we can go ahead and finish this piece right here. Oh my goodness, what do we got here? 7:26. Probably at any minute, Don and Bridget are going to be coming by, because they almost always do. If you remember this past early summer when I went and I met them, they said that they never miss, at least, or they hadn't up till that time. And if you'll remember, there's been times when it's been raining, they've been going along holding their umbrellas over their heads. So, I mean, they are very dedicated with their walk. Okay, I'm quite sure that the little control wheel that we glued on here is glued in place now. I think I'm probably safe to put this part in with all the other little parts and not need to worry about accidentally bending the control wheel out of shape. When I look at it horizontally like this, it looks like it's not as straight as I would like it. I've got to be careful I don't drop it in my coffee here. Okay, we'll just stick it in here with all the other little parts. And as near as I can tell, those parts, they get glued on. Oh, this piece here. Yeah, you can see here where there's the positioning holes. And that's where a lot of these things are going to be hanging down from. Okay, let's recompose here and see what we can do. I don't want to glue this F10 onto the F2 until I decide what color I want to paint it. Like right there. I don't want to glue it on right there. I want until this piece is all painted. And I was looking at this afterwards. If we check the painting and marking guide, this is actually going to be two different colors. I don't know which one I should paint first. I guess you know, it really doesn't matter. Either way, there's going to be difficulties involved. So I guess if I was to take my little brush and just be really careful, I could probably do it. But I can't do it until the paint comes. So, yeah, that looks like we're going to be at least 48 hours, all being well. All being well. Yeah, let's just sort of continue on here and see what we can do. I think that we can go ahead and assemble this piece right here. Okay, So we've got 3 pieces here that we have to hold in line all at the same time. Now, that's sort of what we got to do. Actually, I guess this piece here is being, I had originally thought, well, I could probably use a square here to make sure I get it straight, but you know what? When we put this piece on the end, it automatically kind of holds it square, more or less. And if it's off just a little bit, I can maybe sort of twist it a little bit one way or the other. So maybe what we'll try to do here, I don't know if I should use the extra thin quick setting or just the plain old extra thin. And speaking of extra thin, for the last 5 years, people have been telling me how Tamiya airbrush cleaner will do the same thing. Some people will go as far as to say it's the same stuff, but it's not the same. It's formulated just slightly different. But yes, it is true that apparently, and I haven't tried it, and I don't know why I haven't tried it yet. I thought about ordering it when I was making my big order to Sunward Hobbies there for the paint. I could have ordered it. They had it. The Tamiya airbrush cleaner, that is. But I didn't. So next time I will order it because it's only about 20-25% the cost of extra thin, and if it will do the same thing, what's the difference, right? I don't know if it would do it quite as well, but maybe I guess the person could do a test. I'm sure that somebody on the internet has already done a test. So anyway, let's see what we can do here. There's got to be a more awkward way to do this. I'm sure if I try, I can do it more awkwardly. All right, what I've got here is a friction fit going on here. And this is actually the first time I'm rotating it like this, so if I go very slowly and very carefully, it should basically stay together. I'm just turning it so that you can see what's happening. And I think what I'll do is, ooh, I bumped it there. Good thing I didn't knock it over. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to meld the bottom seam there. I'll just move in just a little bit. And I'm going to use the quick setting so we don't have to wait here all day long. Now let's try not to bump that. Okay, I know that people keep telling me that I can extend the brush by pulling it out. I know about that. The problem is it's almost right down to the bottom now as it is, at least when you screw the lid down. But what happens is that the glue does not seem to completely load the brush. Okay, now this should meld pretty good here. Maybe I'll just carefully turn it around and we'll do the other part as well. Now it could be that this has seeped its way. Maybe I'll just recompose here and we'll just move in and look right close right there. Now, I don't know if I dare to try and press these together now or just rely on the melding effect. It's probably going to dry fairly strong. Now here's something. I've never tried this before, but I think what I'm going to see if maybe one of Gabe's swabs is going to do a better job of applying a lot of glue. Not really. Okay, now there is something that I used to do, well, probably way back in the Bismarck build now. I use a small hypodermic needle with the sharp end sort of cut off. And then I could just sort of, draw some up into it and then put a droplet of, the pure stuff, you might say, right on the joint. But I think we pretty much got that anyway. Now, I know that excuse me, further up, it's got to be pressed together, but I don't want to do any pressing together until I know that this is strong enough to put some stress on it. Okay, when I start thinking about something, I sort of got to follow through on it here. And also my experience has been whenever I try to fight my way into a plastic bag on camera, I usually end up making a fool of myself. I can't remember how much these were on Amazon. I think they're worked out about $1 a piece or less. People have to use these every day to inject insulin into themselves. Okay, now let's be careful that I don't hurt myself here. It's amazing how sharp they can sharpen these tips. And I also know that in the past, if you press too hard when you're doing something like this, the vibration of because this wheel will be slightly out of round, it will get metal fatigue and it'll actually snap this off. So I got to be careful not to press too hard here. And also I want to be careful. See, I think the wheel is going to turn this way, so I don't want to stick it in like that, or it'll jam and also break it off. So anyway. Yeah, that's not razor sharp anymore, so it's probably safe to use. I probably don't have it completely blunt, though. It's probably still a little bit spade shaped. Maybe I'll give it a little bit more here. Okay, I don't have the macro lens on, so I can't really see it too good, but I think we got it more or less square on the end now. Okay, let's give this a whirl here. Now we don't need to draw in very much, just a little bit. And I'll squirt back what I'm not going to use here later. Ooh. All right. You can see it forming on the end of the tip there. Suck that back in. There we go. All right. That should be lots. I'm just going to turn it around to the other side now. Okay, I think I'm going to have to sample some more from the bottle. Anyway, you get the idea. Okay, what I've done here now is I have sampled some extra thin instead of the quick setting. Because the extra thin actually has a much better melding effect. Unfortunately, it's going to take a while for that to, dissolve the plastics and meld them together. I'm guessing maybe about an hour here. And then during that hour I can go do some editing and check the status on our paint. Okay, here's what's happened. When I was about 10 years old, we moved from a little town in Saskatchewan to Omaha, Nebraska. Huge change for a 10-year-old. And we came from a little community in that town that could be best described as Jamestown without the poisoned Kool-Aid. Anyway, we got down there to Omaha, and my dad sort of didn't have anybody else watching him, so he sort of concluded that maybe if we owned a television, we would not burn in a lake of fire forever and ever. Amen. Yeah, that's the background I came from. We were superstitious to the nines. Anyway, on TV at that time, in the early 50s, there was a show called The Life of Riley. I can remember it real well. And it starred William Bendix. And I remember his name because I think they used to announce it at the beginning of the show. William Bendix in The Life of Riley. And William Bendix had something that he would often say in probably at the end of every show. And it was, "What a revolting development this is." Those of you who are older can probably remember. It was actually a pretty good show. Anyway, I think that's probably about all I can say right now. What a revolting development this is. And here's what's happened. I did go back and edit out all my footage, and then while I'm uploading my files, I thought, well, I may as well check my email. Well, we got an email from Canada Post. Hopefully I remembered to put it on the screen there. They are holding my package. It's being held in a secure facility. Well, I'm glad it's secure. Actually, at this point, I don't care. Anyway, it says contact us. So I did contact Canada Post. Eventually, first of all, they don't want you to actually talk to them. They want you to type to them. Well, I type like a retard. So I'm not about to do that if I don't have to. So I got their toll-free number and gave them a call. Eventually talked to a real person. And she said that what I have to do is get Sunward Hobbies to contact them, because at this point it's their problem. Now the only thing that I can possibly think that happened was, well, there's two things that could happen. First of all, it could be they tried to ship something they shouldn't, but I don't think so. They know by now what they can ship and what they can't. I mean, they've been doing it for years. But I think, having been in the express business at the bus depot, that's what I did, I handled packages, I think that probably something started to leak. and either they could see it on the package or they could smell it in the package, and somebody flagged it. That's the only thing I can think of. They didn't say, so maybe I shouldn't guess, because maybe that's not what happened. Anyway, I phoned Sunward Hobbies, spoke to a fellow there who says, well, I can't really do anything about it. It's not really my, I believe it was a new employee. He says, email us at info@sunwardhobbies.ca or whatever, which I did. I sent them off an email, sent them a screenshot of what Canada Post had sent me with all the information on it. You're not seeing all the information like the tracking number and stuff like that. You're not seeing that. But I said I'm expecting a full refund, because even if they do start looking after it right away, by the time they do a reorder and send it out, and one of the reasons why I'm kind of miffed is because I paid extra for express post when I could have had free shipping. I wanted to get this paint as fast as possible. So this is why I'm a little bit upset here. So now what I've got to do is I've got to go through all my paints and try and find out who here in Winnipeg is something the same or close. At this point, I don't care if it's Mr. Hobby. If it's Tamiya and it's basically the same color, fine with me. I had sort of been looking forward to trying to try something different. But, okay. I think that's probably what I'm going to have to be doing here the rest of this afternoon, is just get myself online. I'm hoping that Eliminator Hobby, which is only about a 6-7 minute drive if I hit the lights right from right here. It's not that far. I don't want to have to go to the other side of town to Hobby Sense, which might be a little better. At least I might get more knowledgeable help there at Hobby Sense. But on the other hand, there might be somebody at Eliminator that can help me match paint too, And like I say, at this point, I just want to get going. I don't care if it's not Mr. Hobby. Let me just push stop here for a minute and think about what I'm going to do. Because, well, I guess what we could do is we could check this thing. I'm guessing about 2 hours has gone by now since we glued this up. It's not going to fall apart now, but we do have to do something with this seam along here. So maybe I should be careful, because it would be quite easy to pry this apart. But I'm convinced that where we put our extra thin, it's probably pretty strong. Maybe I'll just put it back like that and keep the pressure going down. Not that it's going to make a huge difference. I suppose we could go ahead and glue up that other seam. What do we got here? Oh, coincidence, exactly 12 noon. I didn't plan it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I think what we really need right now is a little bit of good news. And I've got 2 pieces of good news, both related to the security system. My surveillance system. And the first is, well, the walkers did come by this morning, around, I think it was 7:27 or thereabouts. Well, you can see the time in the upper right-hand side of the screen. You know exactly when they came by. Now, the second bit of good news is, last night, just when I went to bed, I was sort of laying there, and I couldn't go to sleep, and I was watching the screen, and I just happened to catch movement, and I checked it out this morning to see what it was. I knew it was something chasing something. Well, it turns out it was a fox chasing a rabbit. Now, the good news is the rabbit got away. Yeah, it shook off the fox. Now, I guess you might not say that's good news if you happen to be a fox lover, because that meant the fox went hungry. But I'm a rabbit lover. Anyway, yeah, good news. Okay. I can't remember when it was exactly that we did this glue up right here, but I think it was probably about 4 hours ago now. I think it was around 10 o'clock this morning. And right now it is going on for 2. Now we're going to try and do this seam right here. Okay, and the plan is, you'll notice that this is a little bit uneven, and I was going to just push down here and here, and then I realized that, well, maybe we should support this just a little bit better. So why don't we go like this on this end, and like this on this end. Then when I put a weight on it, I think it probably will have a tendency to... Okay, now when I put a weight on it, it's going to want to go like this, right? So here's the plan. I'm going to find something heavy here, reasonably heavy, that is. Okay, and if I have one end supported on the table there so that it doesn't want to slide like this, then when I drop this down carefully, it should press straight down and not rock it from one side to the other. Like that. Okay? Now that's the plan. Now, I guess I was starting to say, in all fairness to Sunward Hobbies, here's what's happened. Just before I came to the model table a few minutes ago, I checked my email again. Sunward Hobbies has already issued me a refund, a full refund. Now that's pretty fast. That's pretty good service. Now I know I haven't seen it go through on my MasterCard yet, but then MasterCard is very quick to take the money off, but very slow to put it back. So everything looks legitimate. Sunward Hobbies is done their part. I don't know whose fault it is, whether it was their fault or the post office's fault. All I know is that I'm the victim here, and it just slowed us up maybe a week, I guess. So that's not a big deal. I mean, after all, I'm just doing this for fun, right? So let's see. Now, does it look like it's down as far as it can go here? So let me just redo this here to make sure that those pins are all the way in. I think they are. Now we're just going to drop it straight down here. What's this? Okay, just straight down. Like that. I think it's going to be pretty good. And we're going to take some extra thin here, and we're going to use our hypodermic needle again. Careful not to bump anything. And we'll just let this sort of sit overnight. I think I got some in there. Let's see what's going to happen here. Don't want to block the light. Oh yeah. You can see it wicking along the edge there. Okay. Now if I don't bump that should meld quite scroogily, you might say. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm going to call it quits for today's episode. Thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we're going to see you tomorrow.